we're back with Terra Nullius, going into part 2 of our episode today. And we wake up on the morning of January 18th, 1493. And it's time to get to Faustino's camp.
Yeah.
So, boop, the token has arrived.
We booped Faustino.
And
We whoop-de-booped.
Whoop-de-whooped. So, Faustino's camp is, I mean, you hear it before you see it. There's a lot of people. There are laborers, clear cutting a large section of jungle. There are, you see, I mean, you get to a section where you see a bunch of like, laborers like cutting down trees and like hacking, slashing their way to clear out a space in the jungle here. The smell of the ocean is in the air. You're pretty close at this point, but you see a bunch of like tall palisades erected in the distance. Once you get past the tree line into an area of just like hack and slash to death trees, you can see pretty clearly several hundred yards away some palisade. It looks like they did a number on this place pretty quickly. A nicely built palisade has been erected. You see a literal flotilla of ships behind in the bay on the opposite side of the camp, and just rows upon rows upon rows of tents. You see campfire smoke pouring from all sorts of places within the camp, and it looks like there are quite a few armed men. Even from this distance, you can tell that. But yeah, it's like very, very like industrial seeming, as industrial as you can get in 1493. And yeah, Clement and Samuel and Sabu kind of lead the way forward. A few laborers kind of like look at them and seem to notice, and recognize them at least, and then are just kind of curious about the rest of you. But yeah, you guys, I mean, you get to the camp, unless you randomly stop and decide to like have a conversation with a field laborer.
Are all the people there like human, or is it a mix?
It would be a mix of, you see humans and dwarves primarily. Let's see what else. Maybe some ASMR here and there, but the majority would be humans and dwarves.
Sorry, I just want to clarify. So we spent the whole day traveling to get here, correct? So it's like towards
pretty much
late afternoon.
Well, it's
at this
yeah,
point.
late afternoon. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Just want to make sure. I just want to clarify.
But yeah, you guys get to the gate, and the gate guard or whatever lets you guys in, since it's Clement and Sabu and Samuel. And
the gate guard's name or whatever.
Yeah.
So wait, what's that guard's name?
Or whatever.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Or whatever. Okay. Thanks, whatever.
Yeah. No, or whatever.
Oh, thanks, or whatever.
Yeah, his first name is Or, middle name whatever.
I thought it was Orwa, and then his last name was Tever.
Orwa Tever. Yeah, that makes more sense. It's a tiefling named Orwa Tever. Yeah. Okay, that is canon. That is canon. Because that's funny.
I'm writing that
we'll never
down.
see this guy again.
Gate guard is Tief. No. We will see him. We'll make sure.
It would probably be spelled.
I just like to think that like
this,
they
though?
say that hey or whatever, and we're just like, that's rude, and they're like, no, that's his name.
Yeah. Yep. This is the gate guard or whatever. Anyway, you guys get let in, and yeah, through the camp. I mean, probably Tepin gets the most looks from people as they go by, but nobody stops you. Nobody questions you guys. You see everyone give Clement a wide berth, and you make it to a large tent near the middle of the encampment. Obviously, I mean, you can smell it before you see it because you can smell like a lavish feast. You smell smells that you haven't smelled in a long time. Like, because you guys used to live in a noble estate, so you're familiar with like the smell of like a fancy meal and like all the different spices and stuff that would be involved in that. You start smelling that, and I mean, all of your mouths start watering because, like, or at least maybe not Tepin because he might not be familiar with his type of food, but the rest of
it probably
you,
still smells good.
it probably does. But like for the rest of you, this immediately is like
Home,
good food
yeah.
is here. Like it's a cultural understanding. But yeah, you guys get led to this big old tent, and Clement stops at the gate or at the threshold of the tent, and then says, "Let me pop in for a brief moment and speak to his lordship. We'll see what the state of his business is in right now, and see if it is a good idea to intrude." And he takes a step in. It's a few minutes later, and he comes back out and says, "I believe we have caught him at a good time. He's just about to start his dinner." Well, come in then.
I start walking in.
Yeah. So you see a man at the head of this table. So it's a giant table, and there are no other chairs except for one. At the head of the table, he's sitting down, and there's a giant table of stuff that's in front of him. But obviously, he can't actually reach it himself, and so he has like 4 or 5 servants who are like gathering stuff from one end of the other of the table and then bringing it to him as he requests it. So the guy looks.
Guy.
Yeah.
Very different
The
than
guy-
Navarro.
Oh yeah, Navarro wasn't afraid to like at least get down and dirty.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
That's what he looks like.
The guy looks like this.
Oh
Of
my
course, he
gosh.
looks like that.
ugh,
So he has.
gross.
He's probably not as like thickly dressed as he would be otherwise because it is a jungle. But he does have a hat similar to that on. A large paunch, a thick mustache, kind of stringy hair. And he has numerous scars across his face. Right, his face is almost like kind of cracked, and it kind of looks like that because of all the different like laces of scars that are coming down his face.
This is Faustino?
This is Faustino. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure to meet Fatstino.
Dang it, Jordan! I wanted to say it so bad.
One of my
Can never win.
greatest-
Can never win.
One of my greatest
Come up
joys
with a
in
pun
life
for every name.
is
Yeah.
when Seth and I both think of these amazing jokes, and then I get to beat Seth to them.
Mad at you right now, Jordan.
Understandably.
I wanted to call him Fat Stino.
Okay, so Faustino is sitting at this table, and right away he says, "Oh, what a pleasure it is to see you all. Clement, I trust that Samuel and Sabu didn't run you too ragged out there in the jungle." And Clement just kind of like shrugs and nods. Yeah, and Faustino looks at the rest of you and says, "Introductions, let's go." And I guess like Clement kind of like looks at all of you and says, "Would you like me to introduce you, or prefer to introduce yourself?"
Does he finish the sentence is the question.
Yeah, I was about to say, as soon as he's like, "Would you prefer that I?" And I'm just like, "I'm Raya Olafemi.
Arie
Pleasure
Armani.
to meet you."
She just says Arie Armani.
Do I say Darius Castrovit?
I don't know.
Say Darius.
Yeah, I think Darius just says, "I'm Darius."
I'm gonna look at the others. They see that like they're kind of like trying to kind of just introduce myself like through the mental abilities I have. Say like, my name is Tepin. Kind of just nod at him.
No, he kind of like quirks an eyebrow at you and says, "Ah, that's a neat trick," because he could like sense you're doing it in his mind. And he looks back at you, Raya, and he says, "Olafemi, that name sounds familiar. Do I know your parents by chance?"
Probably not.
Well, we'll have to discuss it another time, I guess. Well, I have heard something about the lot of you. I was under the impression that there were a few more in your number.
No, I was coming.
I was under the impression that we were here to talk business.
We can jump straight to business, of course. It's not like I've invited you to dinner, so that's only fair.
Hasn't?
Well, there's no other chairs.
Don't have to. I can stand.
It's not a
eat.
dinner party.
Yeah, it's not a dinner party.
It's a dinner meeting.
Yeah, he's gonna eat, and then you guys will talk. And yeah, I think he like puts like some like a haunch of meat in his mouth and starts chewing, and then he says, "So I've heard quite a bit about the lot of you, just the way that you've been tramping across the jungle and causing trouble, and a good kind of trouble, I've heard, but trouble all the same, for the natives and all that. And I was under the impression that there was an alliance that might be able to be made between you and I. Is there... I guess my question first is, what do you know of me and my expedition here in the New World?
Oh, jeez.
What are your expectations?
Can I roll a history check? I don't think I've actually rolled one for him.
No, I'm pretty sure all of you have.
I think we all did. I'm trying to see what I
yeah.
have written down.
I don't think I know
Remember if
anything.
I don't know if I did or not.
I don't think Darius ever rolled
I
a
think
history
you
check.
know that he's a rival of Navarro's. They
I
don't
know
like each
Raya
other.
rolled a natural 20 on her check for him. Right? Didn't you?
She may have.
I don't remember those kinds of things.
You did, but I mean, it still didn't give you too
Let's
much
see.
information. But you were rolling to see if he and Navarro had ever met, and you rolled to, and it wasn't public record if they had ever met or not. I remember that. I don't know. I guess it's not super important, but just
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure there's a whole lot that we ever talked about, according to Faustino. We know that he is a prominent lord in, I believe, Portugal it was.
Yeah, Portugal for sure.
And he's a rival of Navarro's and has a large armada at his disposal. I mean, you can tell all that by just being here, but that's pretty much all I think you guys know. But yeah, so he says, you know, what do you know of me and my expedition? What are your expectations?
We're just here looking for allies.
Allies for what, exactly?
Well, how much?
Pursuit of wealth?
How much do you know about this land?
I know that it's full of resources ripe for the taking.
And the powers that rule it currently?
Some sort of snake people, nasty creatures.
Yes. So one of those snake people is trying to upset the balance.
Ah, so there's a sort of a civil war maybe brewing?
Probably on the way to be brewing.
Right. Well, that is the definition of the word brewing. It's not quite
Yes.
finished yet.
Yeah. Look, we don't really.
And he takes
I
like a
guess-
big swig of like ale when he says that.
Speaking for myself, at least, I could care less about the riches that we may find here. We're not here for that.
Of course, yes. Your sights are on bigger things. I can see that.
Just trying to ensure the safety of
The safety of...
everyone.
Ah, what are those world savers? Interesting. So you're on some sort of mighty noble quest, I see.
I don't know if it would be called noble necessarily.
Well, it may be called that by people who are naive enough to think that heroes are actually good.
Look, all we're setting out to do here is prevent something really bad from happening. And to do that,
Yes.
we're trying to kill a certain one of these snake people.
Yes, interesting. Ah, I see. So you have a mission and you are looking for a patron.
Or just allies in general.
Well, what do you expect that... I suppose my question is, what threat does this civil war that is in the making present to me, exactly? What would be my stakes in the coming
Certainly
conflict?
you've seen all the undead roaming around.
Oh, yes, I mean, we have clerics, we can deal with them.
It won't stop until this is done.
Let's just say...
Technically, that's a lie. Technically, that's a lie. The undead apocalypse has ended in the sense that they're not going to like keep plaguing everybody.
Okay, that's Arie's understanding of it. Like,
yeah, got it.
She's just trying to up the...
You're exaggerating it slightly, yeah.
Let's just say, whatever you're here for, whatever power and wealth you're seeking here, would be put at risk if this serpent is able to take charge. He already do we know that he's the one who destroyed the Arendira's everything? Yeah, so he already destroyed an entire city. An entire large city. And I'm sure
so when we say he destroyed an entire large city, do we mean him personally or an army under his command?
No, him personally.
So a powerful magic user then.
Yes.
Comes to power, this entire island will be consumed by him, and there will be nothing left for you or for anyone else. It will
so what you are proposing is we ally against this particular snake and take him down together, and then what?
You can have whatever you want.
You lead me to the basin then.
Oh, from what I understand of at this moment, yes, I have no other business here. From what I know now, if we believe that killing this snake will prevent the total destruction of the area.
Interesting. So what sort of threat are we talking about here? Do you want me to send my armies or something more subtle?
We're looking for people to help join our party. People who are helpful physically, magically, to find this snake, first of all, and then to try and defeat him. At some point, it might be helpful to have an army, but right now we're just trying to figure out who and what we have against him.
I see. So if I just gave you, well, these three here, Clement, Cebu, Samuel, great warriors and magic users in their own way, that would satisfy you? A simple request for aid? And I can keep doing what I'm doing here?
That would be an excellent help right now. Would you be willing to offer more later if we come to that point of a fight with an army?
Yeah. So you're going to traipse about the basin, trying to figure out as much as you can, gathering allies to wage a final battle against this demon. And then you'll call me at the last possible moment, and I'll ride in as a knight in shining armor to save the day. That's the way this will shake out, yes?
Of course. We're not simply going to go to defeat him and claim his crown. I don't care about any of that.
Give the busy work to us, and then when the real job comes,
I'm sure not only all of us would be in debt to you if you come to our rescue at the end, but we can try and make it known even among the snake people here that you have saved them from destruction.
Would be grateful as well.
The who now? The whaty?
The fire people that are around would be grateful as well.
Ah, yes, the
They're called
barefoot natives. Interesting. Well, Tlachanoli is the name you'd know them by, but yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Ah, yes. I believe we've seen a few of those. Make a persuasion check. Yeah, I think that we've reached the peak here of this argument.
Who is persuading?
Raya, she's been doing the most talking.
Yeah.
Why can't I speak his language in an easier way?
Did she get advantage because I was typing in too?
Yeah, you and Arie were, so yeah, I feel that's fine.
Okay. Persuasion, here we go. 18.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I think what he says is he thinks about it, takes another bite of some sort of miscellaneous animal, and I'll choose. I suppose this could be a mutually beneficial arrangement, but I believe I would like one thing before you start traipsing off on this quest of yours. I need more information. I need more knowledge about this basin, the denizens within it. You seem to know quite a bit about these Tlachanoli, the snake people, whatever you call them, and the sort of magic powers that are at play in this space. I would know whatever you know. And then I will gladly help you with both these individuals and an army, should you need it, in a conflict that has been strategically decided. Do you agree to these terms?
That seems quite fair.
All right. Then my first question is, what is up with this orb that you carry?
What, the orb?
The orb that I carry?
Freaking Clement probably briefed him. Of course.
I pull out my drift globe and I go, this one?
God. You can feel Clement's gaze on you. And he frowns and he says, that doesn't quite fit the description I was given.
Oh, I didn't realize you were given such detailed briefings on us.
He's just still looking at you.
Well, I guess I'll start about the history of the area. And I start talking to him about how the Tlachanoli lived here, and then kind of how the serpents started coming in and taking over, and now that there were 7 serpents who each had their own domain, and now there's 6 because Mazayol destroyed Arendira, and so there's possibly going to be a power struggle, and it seems to be in the best interest of everyone to have not a complete wipe out of all the other leaders and causing mass chaos. So it's best to stop Mazayol now.
Caleb,
just a very brief history of the area.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, Caleb, how much of that history do I know? How far away?
You probably know parts of it, yeah.
Okay. Because we haven't really established even where I come from, where
you know the gist of it.
Okay.
I mean, you've grown up in the Yololi Basin, so you would know that much at least. But we will have to have a conversation basically about what your tribe has been like and what their kind of space was in the Yololi Basin and what they kind of.
Well, I was under I wasn't even under the assumption I was necessarily from the. Well, actually, I would have had to have been from the Yololi Basin.
Yeah, you're around here somewhere. You might be from the outskirts of it, but you're around here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, there we go.
And
I gave him.
And then you end, and you're like, "That's all of the information." That's basically the way you present it.
That's. I'm like, there's the history of the basin that I just gave,
Yeah, so he gives you this interesting kind of like
And then
look.
I kind of go, oh yes, and not super sure if Lord Navarro was looking for anything besides just a new piece of land to conquer. We just came with him to help clear out some land. I think he just wanted a new place to rule, being the first. Wanted kind of a name and light situation.
I wasn't going to bring up my good friend Navarro, but since you have, I take it that you have left his employ.
I have not had contact with him for quite some time.
Yes.
And I also kind of say, I don't really know how much I ever was an employee of his versus an opportunist.
All right, Raya, fine.
I'm just saying, I don't think I really was his employee. I just took the opportunity that I saw in front of me.
By a strict definition of the word, all of you were employees of Navarro.
I wasn't.
Except, yeah, well, Toity was.
Well, eventually.
Well, no, Teppan was never.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
Toity also was never.
That is actually true.
Actually, that's not true because you were an
Well,
employee of his.
afterwards.
It's just that he wanted to murder you, and so you ran away.
Yes, there was a period in there at the beginning of the campaign where you were not an employee of his.
Yes.
But yes.
I eventually became one. Teppan, however, has no clue who you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, I guess he is just kind of like stroking his mustache at this point, and he says, "You're an interesting person, Ryle, if I may. I am going to leave it at that for now, and with the trust that we will continue this conversation at a later date." And to you, it's very obvious that he knows you're holding stuff back, but he's not gonna make a big scene about it right now. So he's just gonna be like, "All right, we'll talk. We can maybe talk about some more things later."
It's fine. I know how to deal with nobles.
Yeah.
Would I be able to make any sort of perception check, insight check of if he is anything except just a power hungry nobleman versus powerful magic user or something else besides just a nobleman?
You can make a perception or insight check.
I will do insight. Thank you. What a gift. 20.
Nice.
You can't tell. Yeah, it seems just like a regular nobleman.
Okay.
Can I make one?
Yeah, sure.
Where is it?
Yeah, same thing.
Same thing. Okay.
He's conniving and scheming, of course, but he seems like
I'm just trying to think because I need to make some kind of roll to be an employee of his officially.
Yeah. That's a different thing, right?
Quick question: can I try for insight to see? Because I kind of have had some.
Yeah, you would have more of a knowledge on that. Yeah, actually, make an Arcana check for you.
Me? Why Arcana?
Yeah. Because you're coming at it from a different angle, right? You're coming at it from what are some magical inclinations that if I was trying to find out.
No, actually, I wasn't showing that at all. Given my
what were you trying to go for?
Given my backstory.
So you just want to insight because you know about.
Well, not only that, but here's the thing. And here's kind of what's been going through Teppan's mind through all this. He's thinking great, I am replacing one tyrant for another. Essentially, because he's been through all of this. He's seen this.
I mean, exactly.
7 serpents.
The issue right now is all of these other people that you're hanging out with, Raya, Arie, and Darius. They don't come from here, so they ultimately don't care about the people here.
Mm-hmm.
Not really, but yeah, they basically just told this guy, yeah, if you help us do our thing, then we'll just let you colonize this whole place. That's fine. We don't care. And then not even paying attention to the fact that you're standing right there, and basically they just told this guy that you could take over he could take over your home.
Mm-hmm.
So
actually, I don't know if I would care then in that case. I think I see this guy as this is just some power hungry dude. I'm trading one power hungry people for another power-hungry people.
Just a little less dangerous, but yeah.
I don't know about that. He doesn't necessarily think that.
Yeah.
They're definitely less magical, from what I can see. I don't want to make a roll. Teppan has made up his mind that he does not like this guy. He doesn't. He's hoping for an opportunity where they take out the 7 serpents and him.
I mean, none of us would care either, so it's fine.
Step 1, take out Maziel. Is that it?
Yeah, Maziel.
Step 1, take out Maziel. Step 2, take out the rest of the 7 serpents. Step 3, take out Faustino. Step 4, take out Navarro. This is Jordan.
I don't want to
program to have Terra Nullius ending.
I'm fine with Navarro just leaving partially because Adeline is still in the place.
Oh my gosh. Like, they get stuck on an island somewhere.
No, just leave.
I mean, they were technically on an island together.
Right, but a small island and just
right. No, I understand.
I would just. And then Navarro.
But yeah, so Arie, you had a thing where you wanted to like.
I mean, I just would like to, if he's willing to like let me stay after to talk to him in private, I would.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Samuel can stay. That's fine, but.
Yeah, so that brief conversation happens, and then everybody else, like, I guess, is given leave to like go find a tent somewhere, right, and rest or whatever, right?
I'd want to stay up because I wanted to talk to Samuel before bed.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to talk
To
with Darius,
who?
but
To Samuel.
You want to talk
Whoa.
to Samuel?
Yeah,
Why?
I want to talk to Samuel.
Okay.
I want to have a conversation with Darius, but Alyssa can have her thing first.
Yeah, I mean, basically Arie's just like, I want to talk to you about, so we have agreed to be allies for this cause. I would like to further our agreement for more. For what goes after this happens.
I'm listening.
What have you promised Samuel here?
A decent wage, treasure that he finds, land if he wants it, the normal things.
And what
He's not a picky fellow.
What of his terms of agreement?
The basics. He is to get a share of the conquest here.
I want that same contract.
Sure. As long as we can come to an understanding that in this quest of yours, ultimately you would be loyal to me and not to anyone else. That if it came down to a decision that would benefit me or whatever mission you all are on, that you would choose me. Again, we're allies. But if you're going to make a deal with me, if you're going to make a contract, then there has to be a switch of priorities. Are you willing to make that decision?
I'll make any decision. And Faustino, I will not lie to you. I will not be loyal to you. But as long as you have Samuel's loyalty, you will have mine.
Make a persuasion check. Because I think that could persuade him, but it also might push him off.
The most important persuasion check in his life.
You need advantage.
I know, I do. That's why I'm like, I'm trying to think. Okay, I have one last bit of information. I'm sorry. That I think Samuel knows, Arie does not. Arie's father had an arranged marriage for her for somebody at an outside village.
Outside of the village?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know any more specifics about that person?
Not, but they were another like important, like they weren't like the head, like the first son of that chief, but they were like the second or third.
Yeah.
And so basically it was to try to ally themselves against the other village that eventually came and attacked them.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, take advantage.
Please roll 20. 16.
Oh,
16.
That was almost bad.
Okay, so he looks at you and he kind of like frowns, narrows his eyes, and he says, "You do understand that if I agree to this deal, then I am taking a risk. I trust Samuel. I think he's a good employee, has a good head on his shoulders. He does what he's told. But I think he has a soft spot for you. And if I decided to agree to this, I would be taking a risk. I could get 2 for the price of 1, or I could get a stab in the back. But I'm a risk taker, so I will accept your terms. But I have one more condition. You're going to tell me what Raya has kept from me about all of this.
Move.
Her
Abandon that trust.
her magic item, whatever artifact and the powers it has. The real reason why you're on this mission in the first place?
Because my boyfriend's a god. My ex-boyfriend.
There's a lot of details I'm missing here, and I can't be going in blind to this.
I'm so sorry, Emily. I know, like Arie's doing it. Sorry.
Yep. So how many details do you give him? Like,
Which, just remember, I
So,
haven't even
I
told
say-
Ari everything. So
No,
at least
exactly.
very
She's
true.
like she knows the least amount of everything except maybe Tepin.
Sure.
Which is why she's the best person to talk to.
So she basically just says the orb is an artifact of the god of death.
the god of death.
Yes. Our original quest was to create a new one. That's
What happened to the old one?
died.
And that's the reason the undead were happening?
Yes.
That makes sense.
At least he's reasonable.
Another might dismiss that as some pagan mumbo jumbo, but I'm a man who sees all the perspectives here. At least I try to. So you tried to create a new god of death. Did you succeed?
Your mic didn't come through, Alyssa.
Yes. She's just very blank faced.
Yeah. And now that this god of death is reigning, he has given you this mission. He's given you this quest. Something else that could threaten his rule?
He has given Raya and Darius this request, and I am simply here to protect them, yes.
So Raya and Darius are more formal servants of this god of death. A cleric of him, perhaps?
Yes. Well, no.
But something like that?
Something like that. I don't quite understand magic users as well as some other people.
That's okay. That's all right. So this mission given to you by the god of death is to make sure that the race of snakes that lives here doesn't threaten what exactly? What could a god of death truly be threatened by? And he says that almost as if he knows the answer to the question. I'm just curious if you'll give him the answer he's looking for.
He's not threatened by anything. He didn't want...
Then why does he care about this? Why doesn't he just flick his finger and get rid of the whole problem?
It doesn't work like that. He's a new god. He's still learning.
All right.
Even the old god couldn't do that. Just hold it back.
Hold what back?
This thing that's coming.
Some sort of apocalyptic prophecy?
I don't know.
See, the thing I've guessed, Arie, the thing that I think is happening here is that there is a rival. This god of death doesn't have control of this region because there is another god.
No. Well.
No.
I don't know if this person is a god or not. I have no idea. But this person, the god of death, didn't want to be a god. He never cared about the power of a god. He did it for a person he loves.
And that person is you.
No.
Roll that deception.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that's going to piss him off, but...
Oh.
Roll that insight.
Yeah.
Is she blushing?
Please get a critical one. Please get a critical one. Please get a critical one. Please. Oh, crap. Dang it.
Negatory friend. Oh, jeez.
So he smiles a little bit. He's like, interesting. What is the orb? More specifically, what does it do?
It gives her power. I don't know. She can talk to the other guardians that wielded it before. It's about all I know.
So she can, in some small way, commune with the god of death. That's how she got this mission of his?
I don't know if she actually talks to him or not, no. The god of death has only been reigning for about 3 days, so...
Long live the king. Well, and I'm trying to think if he has any other questions that he wants to ask you.
I like Faustino more than Navarro. I'll say that much.
Really?
I like Navarro way more.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Navarro would never have done this so underhandedly. Let's be real.
Yeah, he was very to the point of kill Toity.
Exactly. Yeah, he would have just said he would have confronted Raya right there and said, "You're lying to me. Tell me everything."
I just
you know.
realized Alyssa's had this conversation with 2 different people, where it's like I will do this under one condition, but last time it was Toity's head on the line.
Oh right, yeah, that
That's
backhanded deal. Yeah,
That's why as soon as he said I under one condition, I'm like I'm not dying again myself.
Kill the cat.
Kill the cat. We don't touch the cat.
Name your blade Curiosity and slay that beast.
Yeah. So I think he says I think that will be all for now, Arie. But I do thank you for your honesty and for your willingness to serve in this capacity. I hope that you and Samuel work well together.
Me too.
Have a good night.
Thank you. And she walks out.
All right, cool. Let's take another quick break right there, and then we'll come back. And I know there's other conversations that people want to have. Stick around. We got more Terra Nullius to come. We'll be right back after this short break.